know she's gonna say yes, but
Yeah.
I still have to be the one to pull this off and say it.
Yeah.
So. Welcome to the All F's Given podcast.
This is where we're going to talk about all things fresh, fiery, and I'm your host, Taylor.
And I'm your host, Parker. And we wanted a podcast / community where young couples could come and be able to listen to our stories, relate, laugh, have fun with us, and also open up conversations for you in your relationship. Because the problems that you experience, well, guess what? Everyone experiences them too. And hopefully you get that once you listen to us.
Yep, so get ready
Because it's happening.
right now.
Right on time with my 25th birthday.
Oh,
my
yes.
gosh, the timing of that.
Yeah.
But we had a moment where we were having like a who am I? And in that, me and Taylor sat down, and the fresh new thing of the week is we finally have a set schedule.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, did we ever realize that sitting down and in the who am I moment, sitting down and actually identifying who you want to become did a lot of good for us being able to go through that together.
Yeah, it was really nice having like that kind of like identity crisis because we both had it at the same time. Like, wait, who am I? What do I like again? Why is nothing making me genuinely happy? Why do I always have anxiety and stress? Why am I not really showing up the way that I want to? And it's like usually those phases get so dragged out because it's like, how do I, like, what's the roadmap to get out of this? I don't really know. But this time, Parker and I were prepared because we've been through enough of them at this point where we were
yes.
like, okay, so it's happening to me again. Oh, yeah, it's happening to me again too, babe. Oh, okay, so we need to sit down tonight. Literally, I get off from work at 9 p.m. and we finally like start relaxing at 9:30. Doesn't matter. It's like this has to happen now. So at like 9:30 at night, we're sitting down and we're going over like, okay, what's working, what's not working, what are the fundamental habits I've already built that I can just fall back on, what new habits do I need to start amplifying.
And at the same time too, like we got to implementing. There we go. We got it, guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, being able to see like where do you want to go? I think that most of the who am I moments happen, especially to us at least, like when we don't actually know where we're going.
Yeah.
And so taking the time to sit down and like for me and my perspective, it was like being able to understand like where do you want to be as a woman? Like as a man, I don't obviously think that way. I'm not like, how do I become a woman? Unless, well, I guess that's actually a thing nowadays. But at the same time, like it was like that's not a thought process of mine or the woman that you want to become. So being able to sit down and plan that, I got to see exactly what you wanted. And in that, now it kind of gives me almost like a roadmap.
Yeah.
To where I can be like, hey, Taylor, this is the dumb Taylor we talked about.
Yeah.
Don't let her show up right now.
Yeah.
She would make that move. You're not that woman anymore. You're the woman that is way more powerful than that decision. Instead of going, wow, you gonna change?
Yeah.
Like, and not even knowing what you're changing.
Yeah, like there's no judgment behind it. It's like, okay, Parker wants to do 5:30 a.m. mornings. I also know Parker loves sleeping in and Parker loves slow mornings. And okay, so this is something that Parker needs me to kind of be very loving about, but also very spicy about and be like, the alarm starts going off at 5:30. I do not wake up at 5:30. I love waking up at 6 or 7.
Or 8.
Mostly it's 7.
Or 8.
You're 8, sweetie. I get up before you. Anyways, when the alarm starts going off, I just like start kicking Parker. I'm like, babe, get out of bed. You need to go be a man. Na 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 na. Keep
Okay.
sleeping.
That used to happen. But at the same time, no, not anymore. Now it's like, but yes,
I just mean like when you're like helping your partner out of like a habit that's no longer serving him, like kind of sleeping in. But I know you genuinely want to get up at 5:30, so I'm like, I can help you by like, you know, putting a little bit of fuel in his fire.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It takes reps. Like how Parker receives like a little bit of like oomph is different than the way I naturally give oomph, and he doesn't respond very well to the way I naturally handle it. So
Naturally,
I kind
it
of
is. It's like she just wakes up earlier and then she looks at me with her scowling face and goes, with the most judgment look I've ever felt in my entire life. And then I get upset. So, yeah, that obviously wasn't working. But now that you know what I want, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, babe, you can remind me of where I'm going.
yeah, and
And
vice versa.
yeah, so like when we hit this like who am I moment, at the same time like we also got to find the where are we going moment. And the where
Mhm.
are we going moment was being able to identify where were you wanting to go in the relationship and on your own,
Yeah.
and then where do I want to go in the relationship but then also on my own.
Yeah.
I think that it's very crucial that most couples understand like we've screwed this up in every which way or form, but what I've found to be true every single time is that when we have our own schedules and also our schedule, it actually allows us to be us.
Mhm.
And it doesn't allow for you to be us when you guys don't have legitimate schedules for yourselves.
Yeah.
And ever since we did that, I mean, at this point now, I feel like it's like we're just in flow. Like we're
Yeah.
just flowing together. We're working out together.
Uh-huh.
We're having fun still. We're playing pickleball together. Yep, we're still doing that.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, like you also know that like when I'm not wanting to eat that extra meal or I'm not wanting to show up that morning or whatever it is, like Taylor can always be like, hey, dude, like, that's not who you wanted to be. So
Yeah.
are you going to be that guy? Because, like, what do you need my support in to get there?
Yeah, there's a very big difference between wanting to see your partner shift and change and move for your own individual wants
Mm-hmm.
or preferences.
Mhm.
But when you're very clear on what your partner's goals and desires are for his individual life or for her individual life, it gives you this very selfless way of wanting to motivate and build up your partner
Yeah.
so that they get what they ultimately want. Because all I truly want is for Parker to be on fire and vice versa. He truly wants just for me to be on fire. You don't do that when it's like, babe, you said you were going to do the dishes and there's still dishes in the sink and there's been dishes in the sink.
As soon as
Why
you get
aren't you
home
doing
from
the
work.
dishes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like no, that's not really a very productive way of going about expressing that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas it's like, hey, like I know you've been working a lot, don't forget to like implement this in your schedule too
Mm-hmm.
because blah blah blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just being
Mhm.
a softer approach, but I know where you're going and I know what you want, so then I know how to deliver the message. If not, then it's just like you keep getting frustrated with yourself,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm sitting there like, well, how do I help? Okay, Drill Sergeant Parker comes out. Hey, you said you were going to do this. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work. So, like, it's being able to know, like, okay, where do you actually want to go?
Mhm.
And then at the same time, just figuring out how I can support you in doing that. And sometimes that's actually me just loving and supporting you in the moment and then pushing you afterwards once you're good.
Yeah.
And so like for us, I mean, I think it's been crazy just figuring out our new schedules and being
Mhm.
able to understand like how to flow with each other.
Yeah.
But I think it's also gotten us to a place where we actually enjoy the time and we don't take it for granted when we have time together.
Yeah. Well, when we both run 100 miles per hour,
Mm-hmm.
Parker and I have a lot of goals to get through every day. We like pushing, we like growing. So when you're running 100 miles per hour, it's like, okay, we need to have moments every single day to just slow down and be with each other. And the way that Parker and I started doing this, which I love so much, is we kind of stopped watching TV.
We did. But before we get to that story, you just wait because that is not where we're going next. And where we're going next is to what happened actually before we figured that routine out. Because before we figured that routine out, there was something that happened. And that was when we went to my mom's house.
I'm literally just trying to avoid this story.
I know. And that's why I'm like, we're going to bring it back into the mix because I could totally tell Taylor's trying to avoid this story. And this story is going to make you guys laugh so hard. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's gonna be a good time. You
Oh,
guys are gonna
you're
love
welcome.
this.
You are welcome, listeners.
Yeah, so Parker and I get engaged and we want to go over and celebrate with our families. And one of the nights we went over to his mom's house, and it's always a good time when we go over to Parker's mom's. I love going over to Parker's mom's house.
So let me paint the scene for you guys. So every time we go to my mom's house, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. I promise you, I have track record of this.
Yeah.
Which is two things happen. One, my mom ends up wanting to drink champagne or wanting to drink Prosecco or something like that. And then she ends up needing someone to do it with. So who does she ask? She knows I'm not going to drink with her. So she asks Taylor. And Taylor, of course, every single time says yes. Well, it doesn't just stop there because then also my stepdad, Larry, he loves drinking wine or beer. But every time Taylor's around, he likes drinking wine. So then he goes, "Oh, hey, wine buddy.
Yep.
You gonna have a glass with me?" And that glass is never a glass. It ends up turning into a bottle
Or
every
two.
single time.
Or two.
Yeah, that did happen one time.
Yeah.
But we're at my mom's, and we're happy to be engaged. We're sharing stories. We're relaxing, and Taylor's having a drink and another drink.
Well, to paint
And
the
another
picture,
drink.
I had one glass of Prosecco in one hand, and I had another glass of red wine in the other. And it was sip, sip, ooh, sip, sip, ooh. And, you know, the champagne ran out, so I had to get more champagne.
Of
and
course.
then, you know, I drink the rest of the glass of red wine, and then L Daddy looks at me and he's like, "Hey, Taylor, you want another glass?" You can't say no to L Daddy. So, of course, I get another glass of wine.
And Taylor does this every single time too, by the way.
It's just
She
so
always
much
looks
fun.
at me and she always gives a look. And the look is, I'm going to cross the line tonight. And I'm like, okay. So I already know. Everyone in the house knows. And
But everybody in the house loves it. Everybody's
having a good
line
time.
dancing with me. Everybody's like blasting good music, and we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
dancing.
you're like the life of the party at that point. And then you look at me and then guys, this look is like, oh no.
It's historic.
It's like the, hey, yeah, I drank too much look, and I know that look. So then she's like, hey, we need to leave, like, now.
But we're having a good time.
We're having a good time,
Yeah.
but we need to leave.
Yeah.
And so nothing bad at all. But then I'm like, hey, guys, like, can we get some water, and can I have some bags? Because
No, wait. I want to express how the bags got brought up. So
Oh, okay.
Christy's like walking me to the door, and like I'm still like dancing. I'm very, you know, I'm having a good time, and people can tell. Okay, I'll
she's
just
flowing. She's flowing.
Yeah, it's a good time. Anyways, so we're at the door and like Christy's like looking at me and she's like, "I had such a great time with you tonight." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, me too. Hey, so I know Parker and his car is kind of like his baby, and I'm not doing too hot. I think I'm gonna need a bag." And she goes, "Oh yeah, of course. Definitely don't want to get any puke on that new car of his." I'm like, "No, absolutely not." And she came in clutch, bringing not one, not two. I don't know how much vomit this lady thought I was gonna be
Yeah, I
like
don't
coming
know.
out, but 3 big Target bags. And yeah, those came in clutch.
Those came in clutch because then we're driving home and I'm like in race car mode. I'm in like drive as smooth as possible, but then also get home as fast as possible
Yeah.
because if I can cut the time, then maybe she can at least throw up in the toilet. I don't have to worry about my car. Like my car's my baby, so like I don't want throw up obviously in the car. I don't think anyone was, but like
Wine.
I'm a
puke.
little bit more overprotective when it comes to my car because I had a really shitty car before this. So, anyways, we we get to the gas station because I have no gas. So I'm like, oh shit. Like, so we get to the gas station and I'm like, okay, babe's been doing good. She's vibing. The window's been down. I mean, does she look like she's like ready to go?
I had
like,
my head hanging out the car window like
Yeah.
a dog with my tongue just like dangling in the wind, blasting music. I'm like, "Hey, babe, we gonna fuck when we get home?"
Oh my gosh, yes, you were. Oh, guys, you know all the reels, like when you're talking about your girl comes home from girls' night or something, and she's like, "I want to fuck," and you're like hiding in your bed, like, "Oh shit!" Like, no, like I'm sleeping. Like, yeah, I was in those moments, except for I was driving, couldn't act asleep then. So, so we get to the gas station, and I'm filling up gas, and next thing you know, like I'm not paying attention or anything, and you can hear. I heard it before I even saw it. I was like, next thing you know, it's like, "Rrrr," and I'm like, what is going on? Did I just pick up a gorilla bear in my car? Like, what is happening?
I am the type of person where when I vomit, it comes out of my nostrils. I'll just put it that way.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, it's
Oh, yeah.
powerful.
So, so I got Taylor throwing up in my car. My Apple Pay doesn't work on the frickin' machine, so I have to go inside. So Taylor's yakking in my car. I'm paying for gas, and then I come out and she's got a bag and she's just sitting there like, like when your girl's drunk, she's just like sitting there with her head down and her hair's everywhere and she's just like, babe. And so I'm like, okay, give me the bag. So I grab the bag, give her a fresh bag, throw the bag out, and I'm like, it's full of puke. And then next thing you know, we get back in the car and we're on our way home. And at this point, like Taylor, I feel like has thrown up all the alcohol at this point.
Yeah, so I started sobering up.
So she starts sobering up. Well, in sobering up, you realize that you threw up on your wedding ring.
Oh my God, yeah. We got to the apartment. Oh my gosh. We literally got into the apartment and the first thing I noticed is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is like red, like nastiness all over my beautiful new ring. I'm like, this is horrible. Like, what if it stains it? Like, I'm like, and I'm still like buzzed, you know what I mean? So I'm like in the bathroom. And plus, like, I'm a hygiene freak even when I could be plastered and I still care about like my skin routine and brushing my teeth and all that stuff. So I'm like in there brushing my teeth, washing my face. And I look down at my ring and I'm like, oh Lord, no. So I like start scrubbing it and I'm like, okay, I think it's okay, but I don't really know. So I go plop on the couch. By the way, when I plopped on this couch, I was fully intentionally expecting to have sex that night. Because ladies, you know, anytime you drink and you're getting that good buzz and you're like, oh, I'm going to have 10 out of 10 level confidence tonight. It doesn't matter how much gluten I ate. Doesn't matter how much dairy I ate. I am 2 champagne glasses down and I have enough confidence to do my thing. He's gonna love it. It's gonna be spicy. We love. Okay. But then you cross the line and then you get a little ugly in the process and it doesn't matter how much self-care you do after. I'm literally sitting on the couch like
guys, this
trying
was like,
so hard to turn Parker on.
She's doing everything, guys. Like basically like I'm at the point where I'm like I've been in babysitter mode for like the last like 45 minutes. So I'm not in lover mode, I'm in babysitter mode. So in that I'm like she's like wearing her hoodie, wearing her things, and then she's like, oh, like plops on the couch and she's basically giving me every sign like, come fuck me. I think you even said it. I think you even looked at me and said it. And I was like, babe, like less than 15 minutes ago, I was watching you throw up. Like I can't get that out. And at the same time, it's also something to be said, boys, and for the ladies to understand this too. When your man is dead sober and you're drunk off your ass, it's not like I don't know. It's just not the same. Like for me, I'm fair. Like I can't do that. Like I'm not in the space. I'm not in the same headspace.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's fair. I've had that happen multiple times with you. I get it. Yeah.
And so like in that, I was like, hell.
But when you're the drunk one, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not want all of this?
What an asshole. My cheeks are popping right now.
Yeah, I'm like, today was glute day. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah. And that was fun. That was honestly like that was a fun moment because at the same time, yes, you were freaking out about your ring and thought that you had somehow like stained your ring. And I was like,
so
babe,
scared.
like you were in tears a little bit. Like I felt bad for you. And then like at the same time, we ended up going to bed. It ended up being a good night, but hell, we went for a frickin' spin that night. That's for sure.
It was very fun. I don't know. I love going over to Christy and Larry's house. The fun partier in me always comes out. It's just always a good time. Like I love having a good time.
My family's definitely like see the fun side of us in the sense of like we definitely give like a lot of the party vibes. They kind of lean into it too.
Oh yeah.
But then we also like have good conversation too, go for breakfast, do all the other stuff. But in that like
and have mimosas.
Yes, and have mimosas for sure.
Kind of, not really.
After our engagement we did though. And that being said though too, like from that night, like something that we also started doing that I felt like kind of strung out of that night, because I still went to bed with you and we went to bed naked, but we just didn't have sex that night.
Yeah, we've been doing
And
that for a while now.
yeah, and that kind of led into like our new kind of like night routine, which allowed for us to really see a whole new side of each other, I feel like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, guys, like if you're not doing this in your relationship, like I'm telling you right now, I don't care like how you're feeling about it. I don't care about your insecurities and all this other bullshit that your brain's gonna tell you that this shouldn't be happening in your relationship. Because the effects that it's had on Taylor and I are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which is we go to bed naked every single night, but we don't just go to bed naked. Like it's either like after sex or it's not necessarily after sex, and we plan to not actually have sex some nights.
Yeah.
Because we just talk to each other. We're like, hey, like, no, I kind of just want you. Like, I
Yeah.
want to be close to you.
Yeah.
But we started getting into bed naked with each other and debriefing our nights.
Yeah.
And debriefing our days and how they went.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, shit, how do you feel after the fact that we've been doing that for a little bit now? And like, I feel like it's brought me a lot closer to you. And I also
Yeah.
know we're going to get that time at the end of the night
Yep.
instead of what it used to be, which is it used to be like, what are we going to do? What do you want to do? Let's watch a show. Let's watch a movie. And then we end up just like waiting until we get way too tired.
Yeah.
And we either fall asleep on the couch or we like lug ourselves to bed.
Yeah.
But then it's not the same.
Well, I just feel like it took me all the way up until that recent change for me to actually feel so confident in being that level of vulnerable with you. And there's been so much like beauty that's grown from both of us committing to like put ourselves in that vulnerability pocket on such a like raw, literally naked level. But that replaced watching TV, and we both kind of called ourselves out on it. Like, hey, like, there's no point in watching TV. It's honestly like sedation and like just lazy. It's a lazy habit. What can we do to replace that? Oh, let's get super vulnerable, real, and raw with each other. And instead of sitting on the couch, let's hang out in our bedroom and let's talk about our day and kind of rehash like what we liked and what we didn't like and what we want to see with tomorrow. And we always end up like laughing our butts off. Sometimes we like, we're not really drinkers. Sometimes we smoke a J, which like gets us laughing even harder.
Yep.
And we just like really enjoy being with each other's like souls, with each other's company. And it usually does lead to sex. Every
Usually.
single, well, if it doesn't, it's because we already have had sex earlier in the day. Something that Parker and I
fair.
started being very intentional with is having sex every single day
Yep.
because it keeps you loose with each other, if that makes sense. Like
it
tensions
makes,
are lower when you're having consistent sex with your partner.
Yeah, and it makes sense. But also, I just want to put out there too, for all the new couples or any of the couples that are not like have been together for a while. Some of the things we're talking about in this podcast are not things that I'm saying, yes, go implement right now. This took us a while to get to. So like also take that into account when you're listening to these type of stories, because I want to make sure that you get the most value out of everything that we're talking about. And this is not just stuff we just all of a sudden, the second that we started meeting each other, this is what we went and started doing.
Absolutely
Because
not.
like this naked thing in bed has been the best thing ever. And if you've been in a relationship for longer than a year, honestly, yes, I would try it out, because like you guys have been together long enough to where like, yes, you can start gaining that comfortability. And like that is something that we developed in our relationship. So I just wanted to put that out there, because like we're talking about this stuff and I'm like, yeah, this is great. But like, just in case there's any listeners that weren't
and
together for a while.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
why like this is called Friends to Fiance. Like this is kind of like I didn't have this sense of like comfort and confidence with Parker until we got engaged. I don't know what the switch was with the engagement. I think it was really like it really sunk in for me that like he's my forever person and I'm his forever person. And I don't know, like it just also like I've really felt the weight and the depth of Parker's love for me with
Mhm.
the way that he proposed and the words that we talked about, like on that engagement weekend, like we
Mhm.
got really deep and like tied together on that weekend.
Yeah.
And that's when we started doing this, like, you know, naked nighttime debriefs
Yeah.
because we're at the place where it's not uncomfortable. It's actually something we both like really look forward to. And it's something we get to genuinely enjoy because of the work we put in for 2.5 years of getting to that point of being able to just fully like lean in and trust each other when the engagement did happen.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about having that level of commitment that
Mhm.
gives you this sense of freedom to truly be your 100% authentic self with the other person.
Yeah, and I think it's like you being able to feel security and know that like I'm not going anywhere and know that like I want you at that level too.
Mhm.
And also at the same time, like it's not like this you can't do not naked. So like we
Yeah.
had also done night debriefs when it wasn't just being naked in the bed together. Like we were just in shorts or a shirt, whatever, and we were still talking about our day. We were still like we would have this thing where like Taylor would sit on the couch and she would hold like I would hold her
Mm-hmm.
in between my arms and stuff, and we would talk about the day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so there's progressions to this for sure that
Yeah.
we've made to get here. But yeah, now at this point, being engaged, this is just what we do, and so it's dramatically changed the entire way that we communicate because at the end of the day, you know I'm gonna listen to you at that time.
Yeah.
You know that I'm not in business mode. You know that I'm ready to go to bed too. So
Yeah.
it's not just like you're getting the leftovers of me either because
No.
we make sure that we're actually listening to each other and like, hey, like, are you hearing me? Like, I
Yeah.
want you to feel heard. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole intention of that time at nighttime. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, that has been one of the craziest shifts that we've made that has completely altered the way that we operate in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that we did it because it's just helped us be able to get deeper. It's helped us being able to just know that we can actually provide that security
Yeah.
that the ring provided,
Yeah.
but on a daily basis in our own routines and habits.
100%. 100%. And that's why when we want to watch a movie, there's a designated, like, it's like a date night
Mm-hmm.
where you get to get the popcorn. Where watching TV feels like it's an actual,
It's a
like,
treat.
fun treat rather than a boring everyday sedation thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not a vibe if you do it every single day. If you do it every
Mhm.
single day, then it's your lifestyle. Whether
Mhm.
that's like if you're drinking every single day, that's not a vibe. Like it's a vibe going over to Parker's mom's and having champagne and wine in the same night and dancing my butt off and getting sick at a gas station and like trying to get fucked. Like that's a vibe. But when that's an everyday thing, then
You're
it's just
just an
your
alcoholic.
lifestyle. Yeah, then you're just an alcoholic
Yep.
or a stoner
Yep.
or addicted to porn, whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep. So
Mhm.
it's all in moderation and knowing that we get that time too, and also that like not everything needs to be just one way or the highway. Like we're always changing things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be able to listen to that here on the podcast
Yeah.
episodes. So come along with us in the journey. And I just want to thank you again for listening. And hopefully you took some things from this podcast because we were dropping some shit on
Yeah,
this podcast.
This is
I did
fun.
not expect
I was
this.
really nervous getting into this podcast thing, but I'm like, recording has been so much fun.
It's been so fun.
Plus, listening to you talk, it's like, oh, you're so sexy, fiance.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
you.
you
I
spout that
love you.
wisdom, babe. You spout that wisdom.
Oh, you too, baby.
Mhm,
But at the
wifey.
same time, wifey or fiance first.
Fiance.
But that'll be a wrap, guys, for this episode. Thank you guys all for listening. Make sure that you shoot us a follow at Friends to Fiance on Instagram, as well as you'll be able to follow me personally at lifecoach_Parker, and you'll be able to follow my beautiful fiance at It's Taylor Duzel on Instagram. So, guys, thank you so much. This is going to be a wrap, and we will see you guys.
Next time.
See y'all.
Bye.